Hi, I don't have a microphone, but I do have Squidward's house, and I'm gonna use this in the meantime because hopefully one day I'll be able to buy a microphone, but today is not that day. So this will have to do. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome. My name's Piper. I'm a graphic designer slash illustrator in California, and I run a little tiny online shop where I sell prints, I sell bookmarks, stickers, the whole shebang. And I also have a Patreon pen pal letter thing. So I make little videos of me doing shop updates or me writing pen pal letters or any of that fun stuff. Today I have exciting news, I guess for me. I was very excited about this. I have officially finished my very first sketchbook. Woo! I've been doing art for like as long as I can remember. I don't think I've ever finished a sketchbook. I always stop like halfway through. But at the ripe age of 30, I have finally finished a sketchbook. And I thought that maybe today we can go through it and I can show you all the sketches I have in here. Also, as a cool bonus, I found this folder in my office and it's full of old art from like 2017 and I thought I'd show you that too. Why not? Before I show you my drawings, I wanted to show you my outfit. I'm very proud of it. Look at it! Ah! I love it! Okay, thanks. Now we can look at drawings. Let's start off with my yellow folder. So honestly, I'm not entirely sure what's in here. I think it's just a bunch of random art over the years. I did see some stuff that I labeled from 2017. There's something in here from 2014, I think. But yeah, we'll go through this one at a time and I'll just try to give you a little backstory of what all these things are. I think first I want to go through these. These are unfinished, which makes me a little sad, but I think this was me experimenting with watercolor. I'm not entirely sure what year it's from. It doesn't seem like it says, but I wanted to do something with roses and a cat and I never finished it. So maybe one day I should finish this. Same for this one. It looks like I was trying to do some watercolor experiments with, it looks like a flower drawing, and this feels like really hefty watercolor paper. I also didn't write a date on this, and I didn't finish it either, so this one is a mystery, but I kind of like it, so maybe one day I'll finish it. You might see a bunch of random watercolors and other art in here, and that's because I used to be an art teacher for a studio a couple years ago, and I used to have to make projects for these kids, and one of these projects was this one here. We were gonna do watercolor panda bears, and I don't think we ever got around to actually doing this, but for those classes I had to have like the teacher sample, and this was one of the teacher samples, and it's a bear, and it looks like, oh, I did write the date on it. So this one was from 2017. So it looks like in this folder, I have more samples from that art teaching job I had. So I'm not entirely sure what this project was. I might have been trying to create a design for a t-shirt, but I just have like random things here that are actually kind of cool. I haven't seen them in so long. This must have been when I was trying to practice drawing hands, and I don't think I could draw hands like that anymore. It's been a hot minute. But I have, oh, I remember I used to have a thing for like octopus tentacles, and I used to draw them on everything. So it looks like I tried to incorporate it into a t-shirt design. Oh yeah, it says t-shirt ideas right here on top. And then what are you? Oh, it looks like it must just be more t-shirt designs, but that was pretty cool. So that must have been all in like 2017 when I was doing the art teaching job. I found even more art teaching stuff. Okay, so it looks like we were trying to learn perspective, or depth? I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember what this was for. But it was back in 2017, and this was the teacher sample I made for that class. And it looks like I did this in colored pencil, I think. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like I did this in colored pencil, and that was pretty fun. I honestly don't remember teaching this one. It might have just been an example I had just in case, but that was pretty cool. I have another teacher example here. I think we were doing bird studies, and so I did some like scribbly birds, and it's funny because like this was like in 2017, and in 2025 I am still drawing scribbly birds, so it looks like I've never stopped. I have two more teacher examples here. I think we were trying to learn, must have been shading, but it looks like it was shading with, with oil pastel. So oil pastel has never been my strong suit, so I don't think we ever used these teacher samples because they were not my best. But that's okay. These are still fun. So I have this blue one here, and then I have this like green sunsetty one. So I'm learning that this yellow folder must have been my teaching folder because there is a lot of teaching samples in here. So I definitely remember this project because this was really fun. So the project was to get the kids to write their name using objects. So this was my teacher sample from 2017. And it looks like I tried to write my name with cactus, and that was pretty cool. So we have a P-Y-P-E-R. This looks like it must have been another teacher sample for writing our names, and it looks like I was trying to teach them to write their names using shapes. So I think I chose triangles, and so that's my name in triangles. This looks like it might be an unfinished teacher sample. I'm not entirely sure what I was trying to teach them. I think I ended up not using it because I never finished it. But maybe I was trying to teach them to make their letters tall? I don't know. Who knows? But I don't know. That's kind of cool. Okay, this is one of my favorite teacher samples that I made during that time that I was teaching art classes. And one of the students wrote my name on it, which was pretty cute. But I used to teach them how to draw characters for warm-up. And so this was my teacher example that I made for drawing Hey Hey from Moana. And I was so happy with how he turned out. I think I used only colored pencils on this guy. So it's all colored pencil, and it looks like I used like ink for an outline. But that was really fun, and I really like teaching them how to draw characters because they got so excited because, you know, these are characters that they know and that they love, and they get to draw them. I think that is officially the last of the teacher samples, and now it's just random stuff. So I have this that is from 2014, and it looks like I drew a bear on a piece of cardboard. I don't know where I did this. I don't know why I had a piece of cardboard laying around, but that was pretty fun. It looks like I did it in Sharpie and colored pencil, but this might be the oldest piece I have in this folder. I know I have older stuff somewhere, but at the moment, this is the ancient relic. Okay, these next ones, I don't think they're gonna get me in trouble because I don't work there anymore, but I used to work at a tennis club. And during the downtime, I would doodle on random things and I would cut it out with scissors. So it looks like I had drawn something. It looks like a bunch of patterns and I had cut it out. I also drew mountains on a Post-it note and it looks like I cut those out too. More Post-it note drawings. Oh, from 2015. So it looks like I drew some like mountain scene, and then what's in here? Oh, it's on the back. And it looks like I did some little beach scene. And then this this was on the back of one of our logs that we'd have to fill out. But I drew a cat. And then I have this bigger one that I drew on a piece of our printing paper. But I must have been hungry that day. I wrote guacamole, and it looks like I didn't even finish it. Ah! All right, I'll have to finish this one. So I found these, and these are totally different from my art style now. These were back in 2015. And I don't draw like this anymore. Like, I used to have, like, a much darker, like, I guess, like, line art style. Like, I never used color, any of that. And I did two animals in that style. So it looks like I did, like, some sort of bear. And, yeah, he's just a print, and he's in a little slip folder here. And then it looks like I did a wolf with patterns and nice dark spots. But that's pretty cool. So this is totally different from the art I make now. But it's kind of cool to look back at it and see, you know, how far you've come. Okay, these next few is just practice. I have never been great with faces. I need to practice more. Even today, years later, I'm still not great with faces. So these are a bunch of things I practiced back in like 2015. And I was using myself as reference because, you know, when you're drawing faces, like, you kind of have to stare at people for a long time, and I didn't want to freak people out, so I just stared at me. But, you know, I was trying to work on the face. I think I did okay with the hair. The hair's pretty cool, but yeah, just working, doing my best. Same here. This one looks like this was a couple years later, and as you can see, my faces still aren't great 2 years later, so I'm trying my best to figure out how to draw faces that aren't wonky, but It looks like I was looking at the mirror again and trying to trying to do the thing, but it looks like I gave up halfway through because I just finished the eyes and then stopped. And it looks like I also have these two samples where I'm trying to do faces and bodies, and not my best. But, you know, hey, practice makes perfect, I guess, but I gotta keep practicing. These are some other practice ones where I was trying to do a face and then I just didn't draw eyes, but that was actually a makeup look I did for Halloween back in, oh, I want to say 2013. But I had painted half of my face as a skeleton, and I thought it looked really cool, so I decided to draw just that half, and I think it turned out okay. And then this is just practice with eyes. I feel like all of us artists have practiced drawing eyes like a million times, but hey, more practice. I have this one in that folder, and I remember making this. So I went to a museum, and they let us do a drawing of some painting there, and I decided to make him playing basketball, but there he is, spinning a basketball on his finger all the way down. What was that, 2015? Tarkin the Elder Ballin. But yeah, that was something I made at the, oh, I think it has the label right here. I made this at the Getty. So that was fun. And this is the last thing from that folder. It looks like I was trying to use, I think this was white gel pen. It was. Okay, so I was using white gel pen on this really nice black paper, and I was having fun. I was practicing flowers and roses and all of that stuff, and it looks like I dated all of them. So all of these are from 2017. Okay, this is my pride and joy. My first official sketchbook that I have finished, and I feel goofy saying it because it's so small. It's like the size of my hand, and it's taking me years to finish this sketchbook. Like, I think the first drawing in here is from 2017, but it's okay. At least I finished it. But yeah, let's go ahead and start flipping through this. All right, first page. I remember this. This was the first time I started using Copic markers, and I bought a bunch of blue markers. I still have them, and I have not finished using them, but I was trying to learn how to get better at like shading and anything involving markers. And yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's cool. And then it looks like I did a moon, so that's cute. Okay, so this one's labeled 2015. And this was back in when my art style was so different. I used to draw a lot of animal skulls. I used to do a lot of patterns, not a lot of color. So this was totally like the vibe back then. But yeah, so I have this little guy, and I thought he was cool. I always liked drawing skulls because you can add like these cool little lines of shadows and all these little details. So I really enjoyed that. This is another guy from 2015. That was my art style back then. So he's he's very wrinkly, and he has a lot of detail on his feathers. And that was something else I totally forgot about. But back then, my art was extremely detailed with things like that. Let me see if I can pull this up. But I remember drawing this too. I was in college, and I was in the library before one of my classes, and so I just sat there and I did the detailing on all of these feathers. And even on his feet, like I gave him like little, I guess they're kneecaps. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I totally remember drawing this, and I was so excited with how it turned out. There's this one. I honestly don't remember what I was trying to draw. I think I was just doing random geometric shapes and just seeing what it made, and I think it reminded me of a face, so I decided to make a face from them. And I don't think I wrote a date on here, so I'm not entirely sure when I did this, but I'm gonna guess it was like 2015. Here's more of that artwork that's super detailed and very intricate down here. It's crazy. Here, let me show you. But yeah, I drew like little petals of these flowers. I have some detailing up here, but I remember this was around the time I started using micron pens, and that's when I discovered that microns can get really small. So I'm pretty sure I was using a 0.05 micron for these, and I was just going ham. I loved microns so much because, you know, you can get these little small detailings and it looks so cool. So that was that. Let's see, this one was from 2016, and I think I started to experiment with, I think this might have been a ballpoint pen, but I just wanted to see what a scribble technique would look like. So I just scribbled a random face. Like, I couldn't tell you who this is. I have no idea. And in true Piper fashion, there had to be some Pokemon in here. So this is Bulbasaur from 2016, and I think I did him in colored pencil. Here, let's bring him a little closer. But yeah, I did some colored pencil shading over here, and oh, it looks like I did some different color combos down here on his eyes, but that's fun. I always love drawing Pokemon. They're my favorite. Okay, so this was definitely 2016. I used to love Rick and Morty so much. I used to watch it all the time. I have since stopped. I don't think I've seen an episode since like 2017, but back then, the show was my favorite. So I remember making this because I wanted to turn it into a sticker, and this was before I had an iPad, and I think this might have been even before I had a laptop, but I remember drawing this and scanning it into a computer and hoping to make stickers, and I don't think that ever happened, but yeah, this was like my first attempt at sticker art. These, I don't know what these are. I want to say this was me just experimenting with my signature and maybe a couple logos down here. Yeah, it looks like that says Piper Draw, and that must have eventually turned into Piper Bro Draws, which is my username for like all my social medias. So this must have been the beginning stages of Piper Bro Draws. Okay, so we are definitely flying to the future with these. So these I remember making during the pandemic. So these were around 2020, 2021, and I really wanted to experiment with color and get better with color because, you know, color theory is hard, and so I wanted to practice and get better. So I have some color experiments I'm doing here, and I actually remember doing these because I have a rock that I was looking at, and I think I have it right here. Let me grab it. Here it is. So I was looking at this rock, and it's purple. It's a nice purple rock, and I was trying to get the colors to match the rock as closely as I could. And so that was kind of cool. So yeah, so I did some rock color practice, and then just some random shapes. I like the way that patterns look, so I was practicing a lot of patterns. Then these were more patterns that I was working on back then, and some random leaves. But yeah, I really liked black backgrounds with really bright colors. So I was working on that a lot here. Okay, so now we are in 2024. So we went from 2020 to 4 years later when I started using this sketchbook again. And this was one of the first sketches I did after not doing art for years. So my first sketch back was a bunch of dittos. And I did these with, what were they? Posca pens. So these are all acrylic paint pens. So let me bring it up a little closer because you can kind of see the texture and stuff on it. But I used all my Posca pens, and it looks like I used a little micron to go through and make little faces of Ditto because, again, this is not a Piper sketchbook unless you have Pokemon. Okay, we have more stuff from 2024. It looks like I was still experimenting with the Posca acrylic paint pens. So I have a couple of those going. I have a dog, flower, I'm not sure what that, oh, I think that was supposed to be a snake, and then I gave up. And then I thought this was going to be like a logo of myself because back then I had really, really long hair that I used to braid, and I never finished that. So maybe I should go back and finish that because I do like that. And then I used to do these things that were kind of like comic panels, but they were put together, and I was not having a good time back in 2024. So I wrote here, it says, I feel physically here, but mentally gone. And I was really going through some anxiety around that time, so kind of expressed that through my art. This is the only guy on this page, which is funny, but I think he deserves his own page because he's a very good boy. But this was, I don't even remember why I drew this, but it's just a little dog and he's inside of a strawberry and he's living his best life. Okay, now we are here at my most recent sketches. These were from a few weeks ago, and I decided to do a mini drawing challenge for myself where I do 1 page of doodles a day. So the next few pages it's just those doodles. So this was page 1, and I had so much fun. So what I would do is I would open Pinterest, and I would just draw whatever random photo popped up. So there was a pomegranate that popped up, there was a little chicken, there was a house, there was a picture of a girl smelling flowers, and there was something with ladybugs and a flower. So I drew all of these from Pinterest. As you can see, I'm still working on my faces. It's okay. I'm gonna keep practicing. One of these days I'll be able to draw a face. I promise. Here's another page of sketches. It looks like I have a crane here. I was trying to practice drawing orange juice. I have lemons. It looks like I have a goldfish. I have a dog, a beetle, another face I'm working on, and a rooster. And I always love filling in the empty space with these stars. They are my kryptonite. I love them so much. Anyways, here's the next one. I have a cactus. Oh my god, there was this cute picture of a cat wearing glasses and like a little bonnet. And I thought he was so cute, so I drew him. There was a cat sitting out the window. There was a raccoon. If anybody remembers ring pops, they are amazing, and I want one so bad right now. Okay, this one was so much fun. So I decided to take the sketchbook to the library and find a random book. And from that book, I was going to flip to random pages and draw whatever popped up. So the random book I picked was all about snakes. And all of these snakes are just from random pictures in there. So we have this guy who is my favorite. He was eating an egg. So this is a snake with an egg in his mouth. We have a front view of a snake. We have a top view. We have a cobra. We have a dorky looking snake. We have a big noodle guy. Like just all snakes all the time. But that was actually really fun. And I might do that again soon because the library is actually really fun to go to and to draw. So it's a thing. I might do it again. Here's another page of those sketches. I was drawing a lot of fruit, it looks like. I have some strawberries here. I have a pear, maybe some raspberries or blackberries. I have a ghost cat. I need to work on my fabric shading, but he's supposed to be a cat in a sheet. There was also this little fairy drawing that I thought was super cute, so I drew that. There's a person eating noodles. There's a cat in a cauldron, and a teapot, and a moth. You know, all that cute stuff. More doodles. These are just more random doodles from Pinterest. But I saw this Tamagotchi and I needed to draw it. When I was little, I did not have a Tamagotchi, but I thought that they were so cool. So I was always super excited when my friends had one because then that means I can look at it and press the buttons, and I loved it. And another page of sketches. So I totally forgot to mention that for this little mini challenge I was doing, I was also trying to choose one color to use. So for this week, it was all blue. So I want to say I used a blue Copic marker, and I have it right here. Let me find it. I use this. It is oh no, focus. There it is. I don't even know how to say that. Staedtler. It is Staedtler fine liner, and I would use that. And then I would also use a Crayola crayon for the shading because I really like the texture. But yeah, I would just choose a random color, and that was going to be the color for the week. So everything I drew here had to have a blue theme. It looks like the theme of this week was pink. So I used a pink Tombow marker, which are really, really cool. Here, let me pull it out for you. So I've never used Tombow before, and they're great. So let me show you. It's like this really cool like tip, and it's really nice, and the colors are really pretty, and they layer on top of each other really well. And something that I was really looking for was a marker that I can color with colored pencil on top of, because some of the markers I have, it wasn't taking a colored pencil layer very well, but this one did very well. So I was very happy with this one. But I used the Tombow marker, and then I used a red, there it is, Staedtler marker for the fine lining. And I think I just used a Prismacolor red to do all of the shading. But yeah, so these were the supplies I used for that, and I really like them. So this one was really fun. So I decided to take this sketchbook to a cafe that I haven't been to before, and I just wanted to sit there and just sketch things. And so that is a drawing of the coffee I had. I believe it was, I want to say it was like a strawberry white chocolate latte, and it was so good. Oh my gosh, I am definitely going back there. But yeah, so I sat in that cafe for maybe like an hour and some change, and I just doodled. So I drew like a plastic bag. I drew like a little wizard man coming out of a hole. I got some blueberries. We have a dog, a chicken, little snail, some garlic, and me trying to practice faces again. So this was one of the favorite ones I did that week, but it's just a mess of different things. So what I was trying to practice was the layout of the sketch page a little bit more, so that way I didn't have as much empty space. So I tried to squeeze in as much as I possibly could. So I have a little cat. I don't remember what that was. I want to say it was my dog. So I think I was trying to draw a chihuahua. We have some cake. We have a dog with glasses. I was trying to work on like cloud texture down here. That's a Coca-Cola bottle with flowers coming out. That looks like a Heinz ketchup bottle. We have a lava lamp, a bird, all that good stuff. This one was really fun. I really like this page. Okay, this is the very last page of this sketchbook, and I'm so sorry that this has to end. I've been having so much fun telling you guys about these pages. But for my last page in the sketchbook, I drew a bunch of random stuff. So I have a fig. I think that was supposed to be a red panda. I tried drawing a skull, I was practicing faces again. A little clown dog, pancakes, a watermelon, a lemon. I must have been really hungry when I was making this because a lot of this is food. And honestly, I'm hungry now too. So looking at this page is making me hungry. But this was the last page. Look at that. Done. And that's it. That is officially the first sketchbook I've ever finished. And I'm 30 years old. It has been years. But I'm so excited to say that this guy's done. Where do you guys put your finished sketchbooks, by the way? Like, do you put them in a fancy shelf or do you put them in a box? Like, what do I do with this? Thank you for sitting with me and listening to me ramble on about all my sketches. I hope you had fun. I hope, hey, maybe you got inspired. Maybe now you're gonna go finish your sketchbook. That would be really cool if you did. You should totally do it. It's so fun. But thank you so much for sticking around. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!